Do you ever feel like you're constantly running, but never getting anywhere? Like you work hard all month only to watch your paycheck disappear into bills? That feeling of being stuck in an endless loop is what Robert Kiyosaki calls the rat race, and millions of people live this way without even realizing it. But there is a way out. You can stop living just to pay bills and start building a life of freedom. Have you ever felt like no matter how much you work, you're never really moving forward? Like your salary barely covers the essentials and the month always seems longer than your money? That's the rat race, a vicious cycle where you live paycheck to paycheck without ever reaching true freedom. But what if there was a way to break free? What if you could change not just your finances, but your entire mindset? From a young age, we're taught to study hard, get a good job, and work until retirement. It sounds like a safe plan, but it traps millions in a stagnant routine with no real growth. The real trap isn't the lack of money. It's the scarcity mindset that keeps us from seeing other possibilities. Kiyosaki warns us, the system is designed to produce good employees, not free people. And if you want freedom, you need financial education, not just degrees. Escaping the rat race starts with a simple but powerful step, changing the way you see money. It's not about how much you make, but how you use what you have. In this video, we're going to explore how the wealthy think, invest, and create income streams that work for them. We'll dive into why the system favors those who own assets, and how you can start building your own path to financial independence. This journey starts today with a single decision: stay stuck in the cycle or open your mind to something greater. The rat race begins when money comes in and goes out just as fast. You work, get paid, pay bills, and start all over again. It's a cycle fueled by fear of losing your job, of not having enough, of taking risks. That fear creates dependence on a paycheck, and that dependence is the silent prison most people live in. Kiyosaki teaches that the key is breaking this pattern, and it all starts with financial education, the kind of knowledge we were never taught in school. One of the most powerful lessons is understanding the difference between assets and liabilities. Assets put money in your pocket, liabilities take it out. But how many people still confuse the two, thinking, for example, that owning a home is automatically an asset? Most people buy a house, take on a 30-year mortgage, and become even more tied to their job. What seemed like security becomes a trap. The wealthy think differently. They buy assets that generate cash flow, like rental properties, stocks, or businesses. Their focus is on earning money even when they're not working. Meanwhile, those stuck in the rat race trade time for money. And that's a losing game because time is limited. You'll never have more than 24 hours in a day. But when you learn how to make money work for you, everything changes. You start building freedom. And with that freedom comes choice where to live, how to live, and who to spend your time with. That's why escaping the rat race isn't just about money, it's a mindset shift. You need to start thinking like an investor, like an entrepreneur, like someone who takes full control of their own life. And that takes courage, the courage to unlearn old habits and pursue a new path. The transition begins with small decisions. Maybe it's setting aside a portion of your paycheck to invest. Maybe it's taking time to learn more about assets. What matters is stepping out of passivity. Money shouldn't just be spent or saved, it should be multiplied. And that multiplication comes from knowledge and action. Kiyosaki often talks about the power of cash flow. When you buy an asset that generates monthly income, you take a step outside the rat race. It could be a small rental property, stock dividends, or profits from an online business. The size doesn't matter, what matters is getting started. This shift also means taking responsibility. Instead of blaming the system, the government, or your boss, the focus turns to what you can do right now. Financial freedom requires self-responsibility. It means letting go of excuses and starting to act with intention. It means making conscious choices about how you use your money. The fear will still be there. But courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the decision to act in spite of it. Wealthy people feel fear too, but they learn to use knowledge as their shield. They assess risks, study trends, ask questions. They understand that the biggest risk is doing nothing. True security doesn't come from a stable job, it comes from having multiple streams of income. And that kind of security allows you to think bigger. It allows you to dream of a different life with more time for your family, better health, and a stronger sense of purpose. In this new reality, money stops being the end goal and becomes a tool. Gradually, you stop chasing money and start attracting it. One of the biggest traps of the rat race is consumerism. We work hard, and when we get paid, we look for instant rewards, a new car, brand name clothes, the latest electronics. But often these purchases are liabilities disguised as achievements. They don't generate income. On the contrary, they increase your expenses and deepen your dependence on work. Kiyosaki shows us that the wealthy use money strategically. Before they spend, they invest. They buy assets that generate more income, and only after that, they enjoy the luxuries. This mindset is what sets them apart. They make their money work first, and then they work for enjoyment, not just to survive. Financial education teaches us to ask different questions. Instead of, how much does it cost? Ask, will this give me a return? It's a subtle shift, but a powerful one. Every dollar spent can be either a seed of freedom or another step into financial captivity. It all depends on how you think, and thinking differently means going against the dominant culture. Being called cheap or stingy is part of the journey. But as Kiyosaki says, those who chase social approval live for appearances. Those who pursue freedom learn to value quiet investments, ones that over time speak louder than any short-term status symbol. It's not about never spending, it's about spending with intention. It's about understanding the impact of every financial decision, knowing your goals and why you're working for them. That clarity is what fuels long-term motivation, and with it, every step outside the rat race gains meaning. Another key to escaping the rat race is learning how to be entrepreneurial. That doesn't mean launching a big company right away, it means developing an entrepreneurial mindset. It's about seeing problems as opportunities, turning ideas into solutions, and learning how to create value in the marketplace. Kiyosaki often reminds us, the rich don't work for money, they make money work for them. And many times, that starts with a small side hustle, something you build in your spare time. It could be something digital, physical, a service, or a product. What matters is creating something that generates income without being tied entirely to your time. A job can be your starting point, but it shouldn't be your final destination. If you rely solely on a paycheck, you're vulnerable. A layoff, a crisis, or a shift in the economy can wipe out years of so-called stability. But those with alternative sources of income have more resilience, more control, and more peace of mind. Entrepreneurship also means learning to deal with failure, and that's something traditional education rarely prepares us for. We're trained to avoid mistakes, when in reality, failure is the best teacher. Every failed attempt brings valuable lessons that, when added up, pave the way to success. Even Kiyosaki went through bankruptcies before achieving financial freedom. So don't wait until everything is perfect. Start where you are with what you have. Use your knowledge, your passions, your skills. Find a real problem to solve for someone. And remember, the goal isn't just to make money, it's to build assets, something that keeps creating value even when you're not around. One of Kiyosaki's most powerful concepts is the money game. He says personal finance is like a board game, and those who understand the rules play it better. Unfortunately, most people are playing without even knowing what the pieces do. They're pawns in a game that rewards those who study, take risks, and build assets with strategy. In this game, personal accounting is your map. Knowing exactly how much is coming in, how much is going out, and where your money is going is essential. People who don't track their finances live in the dark. They don't understand why there's so little left at the end of the month. And without clarity, there's no way to grow. It's like trying to drive without knowing your destination. That's why the first step is simple: financial control. Write everything down. Watch your spending patterns. Question every expense. Become fully aware of what you're doing with your money. You might realize the problem isn't your income, it's waste and unintentional choices. Over time, that control becomes a habit, and habits become freedom. You start cutting what doesn't serve you and redirecting your resources toward what builds your future, of course. An investment, your own business. The small decisions you make today shape the freedom you'll have tomorrow. What feels like sacrifice at first turns into lasting rewards. The rat race thrives on distractions. It lures you with sales, easy credit, and instant gratification. But those who learn to play the money game focus on the long term. They know how to wait, how to build, how to multiply. They don't live to impress others. They live to create a life that reflects their own dreams. Financial intelligence also means understanding taxes, interest rates, and the banking system. Kiyosaki states, the rich don't just earn more, they legally pay less in taxes because they know the rules. They invest through companies, use tax incentives, and protect their wealth strategically. Meanwhile, most people don't even read their bank statements. They pay high credit card interest, don't know the difference between simple and compound interest, and stay trapped in debt. This isn't a matter of capability, it's a lack of education. The system doesn't want you to learn. It wants you to consume, to depend, to settle. But you can flip the script. You can learn about investing, how to protect your income, and how to grow your wealth without drowning in taxes. Yes, it takes studying, but more importantly, it takes interest. No one will manage your money better than you. And no one is coming to rescue you. You have to be the one to break free. Financial education is the new superpower. With it, you begin to see the world differently. You start spotting opportunities where you once saw obstacles. You learn to think like the system, not like someone stuck on the outside. It's like learning a new language, the language of freedom. And the best part? It's never too late to start. You might be in debt today, but with knowledge, discipline, and strategy, you can build a new path one step at a time, one habit at a time, one asset at a time. And just like that, your life changes because you change first. Another crucial pillar in escaping the rat race is your social circle. Kiyosaki often says, "Show me your friends, and I'll show you your financial future." That's because your environment directly shapes your mindset. Spending time around people who think small can limit your growth even if you don't realize it. If you're surrounded by people who constantly complain, spend without thinking, and live in debt, there's a high chance you'll fall into the same pattern. But when you start connecting with people who are focused on growth, investing, and entrepreneurship, something inside you shifts. The conversations change. Ideas begin to bloom. Possibilities start to expand. This doesn't mean abandoning your friends, it means seeking new environments. Join study groups, attend events, engage in online communities, read books, listen to podcasts, watch content that inspires you. Feed your mind with examples of people who've already escaped the rat race. That shapes your vision and strengthens your belief in the process. The journey isn't easy. There will be doubts, fears, setbacks, but when you're surrounded by a support network, you feel less alone. You learn faster. You fail smarter. And most importantly, you stay committed even when progress feels slow. Because success is rarely quick, but it's built on consistency. Over time, you'll become that source of inspiration for others. Your transformation will motivate friends, family, and coworkers. And in doing so, you won't just build your own freedom, you'll become a bridge for others to awaken, too. That's the real impact. It's not just about money, it's about transformation. Along the way, one common trap is comparison. Looking at those who've already achieved financial freedom and feeling behind can drain your energy. But Kiyosaki reminds us, everyone has their own timeline. The focus should be on progress, not perfection. Your journey is unique and every step forward matters. Comparing yourself to others only makes sense if it inspires you. If it makes you ask, what can I learn from this person? Instead of envying their achievements, study their path. What habits did they adopt? What choices did they make? What risks did they take? Use other people's success as a roadmap, not as a measure of your own worth. And celebrate your own victories, especially the small ones. Paying off a debt, making your first investment, finishing a finance book, these are all wins. Because the real treasure isn't the money itself, it's the evolution of your mindset. And that's something no one can take away from you. As your vision expands, you'll realize that financial freedom isn't about having millions in the bank, it's about having choices. The ability to say no to a job that doesn't fulfill you, to have time for your family, to wake up without anxiety, to live with purpose, not just to pay bills. Escaping the rat race is about breaking free from autopilot. It's about living with intention. It's about stopping the endless chase and starting to build your own path with patience, clarity, and consistency. Each day of financial awareness brings you closer to this new way of life, one where you are in control. Over time, you'll see that getting out of the rat race isn't a final destination, it's a new beginning. Once you're out, the challenge becomes staying aware, continuing to grow, and constantly reinventing yourself. Financial freedom is dynamic, it demands attention, lifelong learning, and constant evolution. Kiyosaki often talks about the idea of the infinite game. For him, the wealthy don't think in terms of winning and stopping. They think about how to keep playing, learning, and contributing. Because the goal isn't just to have more money, it's to build a legacy, to impact lives, to create something that lasts beyond you. This long-term vision gives purpose to your efforts. Money becomes a tool for creation, not just accumulation. You begin to think about how to help others escape the rat race, how to teach your children, your friends, how to use your journey to multiply freedom, not just wealth. And that's when something powerful happens. Your mindset shifts from scarcity to abundance. You stop thinking about survival and start thinking about service. It's no longer about keeping everything for yourself, but about sharing what you've learned. That deepens your purpose and reinforces your freedom. It becomes a virtuous cycle. You learn, apply, get results, teach, inspire, and keep learning. Escaping the rat race is no longer just a personal win, it becomes a movement, a way of living with more awareness, more presence, and more impact. And when you truly understand this cycle, you realize that financial freedom isn't just a number, it's a state of mind. It's the peace of knowing your choices are driven by intention, not fear. It's living with lightness because you're no longer chasing, you're creating, building. This kind of freedom brings clarity. You start asking deeper questions. What truly makes me happy? How can I use my time in the best way? What kind of legacy do I want to leave behind? Questions that were once buried under the weight of bills, debt, and exhaustion now. They finally have space to be heard. You also begin to value time more than money. You realize that your most precious asset isn't your bank balance. It's the moments you get to spend with the people you love, doing what truly matters to you. Freedom stops being a distant goal and becomes a part of your everyday reality. This personal transformation touches everything: your relationships, your work, your health, your overall well-being. It's as if by stepping out of the rat race, you also emerge from the mental fog that keeps so many people from living fully. What once felt like an endless routine becomes a meaningful journey. And in the end, that was Robert Kiyosaki's greatest lesson, that true wealth starts in the mind. Money is simply a reflection of how we think, decide, and act. And when we change our mindset, we change our life forever. Throughout this journey, we've seen that escaping the rat race isn't just about changing your circumstances. It's about an internal revolution. It starts with a single decision: to stop living on autopilot and take the wheel with intention and courage. Through Kiyosaki's teachings, we understand that what separates the rich from the poor isn't just a bank account, it's a way of thinking. The wealthy invest in assets, build passive income, and prioritize financial education. They don't live to work, they work to build freedom. You also begin to value time more than money. You realize that your most precious asset isn't your bank balance, it's the moments you get to spend with the people you love, doing what truly matters to you. Freedom stops being a distant goal and becomes a part of your everyday reality. This personal transformation touches everything: your relationships, your work, your health, your overall well-being. It's as if by stepping out of the rat race, you also emerge from the mental fog that keeps so many people from living fully. What once felt like an endless routine becomes a meaningful journey. And in the end, that was Robert Kiyosaki's greatest lesson, that true wealth starts in the mind. Money is simply a reflection of how we think, decide, and act. And when we change our mindset, we change our life forever. Throughout this journey, we've seen that escaping the rat race isn't just about changing your circumstances, it's about an internal revolution. It starts with a single decision: to stop living on autopilot and take the wheel with intention and courage. Through Kiyosaki's teachings, we understand that what separates the rich from the poor isn't just a bank account, it's a way of thinking. The wealthy invest in assets, build passive income, and prioritize financial education. They don't live to work, they work to build freedom. And that freedom is within reach for anyone willing to learn, take action, and stay consistent. It doesn't matter where you are today, what matters is where you're headed. Every small step: reading a book, making an investment, changing a habit, is a building block on that path. The rat race may feel endless, but there is a way out. And that way out starts with you. When you change your mindset, you change your reality. When you take responsibility, you take back your power. And when you act with intention, you start building a new future. So look at your life with fresh eyes. Question things. Keep learning. Dream big. But above all, take action. Because knowledge only becomes freedom when it's put into practice. And by seeking this change, you've already taken the first step. Now it's time to keep going, to inspire, to teach, to grow, and to remember every single day that you weren't born to run in circles. You were born to build your own path to freedom, purpose, and abundance. That is the real victory beyond the rat race.